I live in Montreal, and from my neighborhood, it's not particularly straightforward to walk downtown because there's a mountain in the way. So today I want to answer the question, is it possible to walk in a straight line from Côte-Sainte-Catherine on the western end of the mountain to St. Catherine on the eastern end to prevent me from having to walk around the mountain's base? I have no clue if this is going to be possible, but come with me and find out. I'm going to start right here at the corner of Côte-Sainte-Catherine and Courcelette. I have an app on my iPad which maps out a perfectly straight line, and I'll be recording the walk on Strava to see how close I can get in the end. This is Mont-Royal from above, and yes, the idea is to walk in as straight a line as possible from here to here, bearing in mind there will be plenty of obstacles in the way, including some pretty dense forest, a cemetery, fences, and a bunch of steep rock faces. And I've started, and the good thing about Avenue Courcelette is it's a perfectly straight line until I reach Mont-Royal Park. Clearly not so many obstacles to face for the first couple of 100 meters, but we'll see what happens when I get up to the park. Just want to point out that there are a couple of places on the line that would potentially take me through private property. I have no intention of doing anything illegal or trespassing, so in those cases I will avoid the private property, but I'll still try to stick to the line as close as possible. Here's the entrance to the park. This is the way people normally get in, but I'm going to actually continue up through this way. I'm in this small ravine, which is quite convenient. It's allowing me to hug the line without so much of a deviation. I'm going to continue along it as far as I can. This fence is perfectly on the line. I couldn't have planned it any better. I have a couple of obstacles coming up in terms of some fallen down trees, but as far as sticking to the line goes, I'm really happy so far. Trying to figure out if it makes sense to cross through here to prevent me from jumping over a fence later on down the path, and I think I will, because I believe this is going to get me into the Mont-Royal cemetery. Making my way up this very steep incline, the first of probably many very steep inclines. Oh, jeez. Oh, hello. Didn't expect that. Given that I'm in a cemetery, I'm going to make sure that I stick to the row while I'm walking through these areas. I'm not going to walk over any gravestones. I've spent a lot of time walking through this cemetery in the past, and I've never been to this particular area with these mounds of dirt. I'm pretty sure I'm somewhere I'm not supposed to be. I actually got a little lost around here, which you'll see later in my recorded line, but I found my way back and continued on through the cemetery. I've stumbled upon the home of a groundhog. There's many groundhogs that live in this cemetery. This is a really beautiful and peaceful cemetery to spend time in. I love to come here. I'm in a relatively open area where there's not so much density of gravestones, so I think I'll be able to walk relatively straight for the next couple of 100 meters. I really like this gravestone. I think the name on it is Carolyn Francis, and she died in 1857 from what I could make out, but it's got such character and such history. I don't know how much truth there is to this, but I have read articles in the past that have suggested groundhogs sometimes resurface from their burrows with bones. That's a very creepy thought. It's been a very pleasant walk through Mont-Royal Cemetery, but it's about to come to an end, and my path takes me right up there, directly alongside that communications tower. I have a feeling it's going to get very challenging very soon. As much as I'd love to bash my way through these bushes, I am afraid it's just not feasible, so I'm going to try to walk around and find the best way through that's the shortest deviation from the line. I had to go around 20 meters off, maybe a little bit more. It's a bit disappointing, but what can you do? This is precisely where I would have come out if I had bush bashed my way through, but thankfully it looks a little bit more feasible towards the end of the cemetery up here. I'm right on track to come through directly up here, but of course, there's a goddamn fence. Well, that was not so easy, but I made it. Just on the other side of this foundation here is Chameleon Hood, which is the road that leads to the top of Mont-Royal. So just got to make my way up and over and cross the road. Success. And here's the road. Jesus, I have to go all the way through there. What the hell? That's crazy. All right, path is clear. Let's go. What have I gotten myself into? Ah, there's another fence. Jesus. Okay. Okay, I think that's the worst of the obstacles done. After I get past this fence, it looks relatively simple to get to the top from here. This is not easy. Yes, done it. Don't try this at home, kids. Perfectly on track. Straight up we go. Oh, shit. Oh, this is a great workout. Get some thick bushes to make my way through now, and then I should come out onto the main cycle pedestrian path. I can tell you some pedestrians looked at me very suspiciously as I emerged there through the bushes, but I've just checked the line and I can confirm I'm over halfway through this mission. So we keep going. Let's do a quick line review to see how I'm going so far. And there you go. This is the part I got lost at, and here is where I deviated for the bushes, but so far I reckon I'm doing an okay job, right? Here's one of the hiking trails. The beautiful hiking trails of Mont-Royal, which I come to do quite frequently. I'm going to be quite careful here because clearly I don't want to trespass on the grounds of the broadcasting tower, but I think I can get past without being on their property and still stick to the line. Actually, the path goes right along the road here. This is too good. This is too easy. There it is, the Montreal broadcasting tower. Just up here, I'm going to need to get back into the bushes. This is quite a fun portion of the trip here. I like dashing through this kind of bush. It's not super steep, it's not super thick. It's very enjoyable. I just realized we've got some vines here with stingers on them, which are quite uncomfortable when they rub up against your legs. Probably should have worn long pants to do this, but honestly, it's a beautiful, warm summer's day and I wanted to experience the fresh air on my legs. Not such a wise idea though. I can hear screaming children, so I'm definitely getting closer to the main lookout of Mont-Royal. There's a real descent to get down here. I think I'm gonna have to put my iPad away and do this with two hands. And here we have the main track that leads towards the Mont-Royal lookout. But I'm heading slightly off the track down here. I swallowed a mosquito. Jesus. The lookout is just up there. I'm going to miss it by about 20 meters. Okay, I can just stick to the outside of this fence and I should be okay. Similar to the cemetery, I've spent hours wandering around the trails here of Mont-Royal in the past. But coming on this mission is taking me along a trail that I never, ever in my wildest dreams would have imagined going through. It's very eye-opening to see the mountain for what it really is. Somehow found myself on the wrong side of this fence. Okay, I've come upon a relatively steep section of the mountain. It looks fairly feasible to get down. I might not be able to film so much because I'm going to need two hands, but wish me luck. Yes, this is definitely the steepest descent that I've had so far. Okay, I made it to the bottom of that particular part of the descent, and I'm on the main trail again. I've reached the point in the line where I'm going to need to take the biggest deviation because clearly in front of me, I've reached a fence and I'm not going to jump fences and walk through people's properties. So I'm going to follow the fence as long as I can and it's going to curve me around. Eventually, I'm going to come out onto Cedar Avenue and then I'll continue on my path along the road. Here's the corner of the fence where we're going to get to turn around and eventually get back onto path. I'll follow this fence for what seems to be about 100 meters and it should take me onto the road. There's something about this scene with the fence behind me that looks really cool. I was not expecting to come so close to anyone's property, so I've just backed away from the line a little bit to make sure I stay off grounds. I'm really close to the road now. I think within a matter of 20 meters, I should be there on Cedar Avenue. Oh yeah, I see the cars. There we go. Disgusting people leaving their garbage. The problem is that this actually looks steep and a little bit dangerous if I was to climb straight down, so I may have to deviate even further from the line. I'm just going to walk a little bit up until I find somewhere that's more safe to descend. And yes, I'm in luck. I am in luck. That's exactly what I was looking for. Whoops. Thank you very much. And here I am on Cedar Avenue. I've nearly made it downtown. Wow. I've just walked a little bit north and I'm about to take Avenue Musée, which will essentially take me to exactly where I need to be on St. Catherine. Taking the stairs down now to get to Avenue Musée. The actual straight line runs about 10 meters through this property here, but you know, I'm as close as I can be. That's why this street is called Avenue Musée, because you have the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts right at the end of it. I've nearly finished my mission. I'm so happy. I've just passed the intersection of Sherbrooke and Crescent, and I have only 2 intersections to go until I reach my destination of St. Catherine in a relatively straight line. Yes! So there we have it. I proved to myself that yes, it is possible to walk from Côte-Sainte-Catherine to St. Catherine in a relatively straight line. I believe the deviation in the end was around about 200 meters. I'm going to verify that when I get home, but you have no idea how happy I am to have been able to prove that. Yes. With that official endorsement from the city of Montreal, I grabbed a bowl of dumplings and took the long way home around the mountain. And here's the final 5.91 kilometer line. It's not perfect, but I think I did pretty well given the circumstances. So, while it's certainly possible to walk from Côte-Sainte-Catherine to St. Catherine in a reasonably straight line, is it actually worth the effort? Absolutely not. That was completely impractical, and there's no reason to ever do that again. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and also make sure you check out the master of the straight line mission, Tom Davies, aka GeoWizard, who traverses entire countries in straight lines.